Research design in quantitative research. In this lecture, and then we will, for first of all, we will talk about why we need research design, right? And then also we talk about what are elements inside of research design, and then one of the most important concept, concept of controlling, and then what are method of research design control, right? What do you mean by control? Controlling what? Controlling your husband, controlling your financial freedom, right? And then we'll talk about controlling what, and then what are procedure of the controlling, right? Purpose of research design, first of all, to answer our research question in a valid and reliable way. That's it, more systematic way. Design is before it's like a blueprint of how to build house, right? And a good plan. Research design is i.e. good plan of conducting research. Again, we already talked about good research. Good research is systematic research is good research, and of course, through research design, we like to develop very systematic research, right? And but as I told you, implementation itself is not that much easy, but process of systematic research is so trivial, right? And next one is reliable research as a consistency, right? And we need to maintain consistency in everywhere when we do research, interpretation of collecting data, interpretation of research, and processing information. We have to be consistent as possible. If we lose consistency, we don't know what's wrong. Sometimes right, sometimes wrong. We don't know. We cannot understand what's going on, right? So whenever you had oh my cell phone had a problem, so it's best way of um, to if you service center, if you can replicate that problem, that's best way of fixing that problem. Sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work, and service center cannot help you very well, right? So, and the number one again, reliability of your research is very important, and the third one is what, validity, right? So validity of study is very important, and then you want to as generalizable as possible, and then also what, the internal validity. There's a two different type of validity, which is internal validity, which is what, and then external validity, which is generalizability. Internal validity is what, tenability of causal information, causal conclusion, right? So the whole idea in the end, if you in short, what is purpose of research design? To conducting quality research, good planning, and good process. But in the end, the which one is the guy in the town? Validity. How you improve validity as much as you could, right? And the one way, the most important thing to to improve the validity through research design is controlling spurious effect. Controlling spurious effect. What you mean is, okay, fine. Controlling is what? Creating conditions that allow research to get a clear look at the variable of interest by limiting or eliminating the influence of some other variable. Those other variables are what? Some variable or other variables are spurious effect. You really want to talk about A related to B. You really want to talk about A influence B, right? But there's a C there, there E there. The all other variable also influence onto teacher turning around. So you cannot isolate whether teacher turn around is because of the violence or other factor. Other factor Obviously, God never told you teacher turnaround is only factored by that violence, right? Other issues, other factors may influence onto your teacher turnaround, right? So what is big deal then? How to control other variable except those community violence, right? The other potential independent variable potentially influence onto teacher violence. I mean, not teacher violence, to teacher turnaround. We call it as spurious effect, right? So we now research design give you the purpose of research. One of the main purpose of research design is control spurious effect. Okay, what is a spurious effect? Other potential independent variable may influence onto my dependent variable. That is one of easy way of defining this spurious effect. Other independent variable may influence onto my dependent variable, except my other than my core independent variable. All right. If you fail to control other spurious effect influence, lacks of validity. Sometimes internal validity, also external validity as well, but mostly internal validity. But we will talk about those validity issues. Lacks of validity. If you have a poor validity and then poor research, we like to improve validity through research design. Procedure of controlling. There are four different type of way of controlling. And then holding conditions and factors as constant, number one. Number two, building conditions into research design as additional independent variable. Number three, randomization. Number four, statistical control. Right? There's a four different way of method or procedure of controlling, but we're getting in one by one. Right now, just know there are four options. The first option is sometimes you do the like old teaching method and new teaching method. You're really interested in teaching method impact onto test score, right? And then you do right. You do like for example class one, and in this case, there's other thing like for example, you know, the grade matter, right? And then grade could be could influence on your test score. And then also school A, school B, different school may influence on that test score, and the teacher may influence on the test score as well, right? So, oh, it depends on teacher and depends on school, right? And then you just add one easy way is what? Just fix it. You know what? I only focus on this school. I only focus on this teacher. So you choose only you do experimental research. I mean this research, right? Only one school and one teacher. So you get rid of the what? School effect, potential school effect variation, and potential variation by teacher, right? It's good because you get rid of those threats, potential threats. Because you're not interested in teacher effect. You're only interested in what? Teaching method effect. Are you with me? But it's good, but it's bad. Why? Because your study becomes limited. And we don't know this result will be generalizable to another teacher. Even though you find out new teaching method works, but how about to school B? Do you know this teaching method will work in another school district, another teacher, another grade, etc., etc., right? So in general, we talk about what lack of generalizability. Extra validity, a little bit what? Generalizability will be a little bit reduced. We sacrifice. But the impact of the teaching method onto a dependent variable student achievement score is very clear. Are you with me? There's no other variations. Very clear to understand teaching method effect onto dependent variable. So your internal validity, you gained or lose. You gain internal validity by sacrificing a little bit external validity with generalizability. That's a gain. Again, there's no golden, I mean, there's no free lunch by this first option. Easy to do, but you reduce potentially reduce down external validity, right? That's a pros and cons. Second one is okay. Now, if we really want to do student ability, right? Like for example, 1, 2, 3 teaching method 1, 2, 3, right? Low ability 30 low ability students and randomly assigned like second group and third group, and then yeah, this is a holding factors constant example. If you're really interested in what level of students really works, right, you choose only one level, lower level students only, right? Someone else will say, "Hey, is this your new teaching method that works for the any dependency on student, student level?" Well, okay, I will just choose only lower level students in my research and investigate that one. You're just fixing that student level as a constant, right? Next method is somebody argue like this is a situation gender. How about gender, male and female? And then you add in male and female as additional independent variable. So now you have a two independent variable, teaching method and gender. So all the teaching method break into male and female. New teaching method also break into male and female. So basically you are comparing how many things need to be compared. If your dependent variable is average of student achievement, how many averages need to be compared? Four different averages need to be compared, right? If you start to adding in this way, how about this? You have ethnicity, African, Asian or not. If you like adding in, now all the teaching method inside of female, Asian or not, and all the teaching method, male, Asian or not. All, new teaching method, female, Asian or not. New teaching method, male, Asian or not. Now you need to have how many conditions? You will have eight different things you have to compare, right? Adding additional variable as an independent variable, which is one way of controlling, counting those variations. But your research design becomes complicated. No longer this average and the other average. There's so many averages you have to compare. It's complexity. Again, you lose parsimoniousness of your thing. At some point, it's too complicated. You don't know what to do. Simplicity give you a lot, benefit when you understanding what's going on. Adding additional independent variable into the research design make your research very, very complicated. I mean, again, more complicated. See, this is kind of high ability, low ability. If your study, the previous study is what you only cares about lower ability students, and if you like to counting those student ability level before your intervention start, and you can adding those things. See, many things need to be compared. Analysis becomes complicated, right? So you can do this exercise. You can develop your own research design. In this case, you need to do what? Directional hypothesis instead of association. And then you're thinking about how to holding conditions factors constant option for one of your spurious variable. And also you can try to do build conditions and factors into your design as additional independent variable. These are exercise we I recommend you to do it. Right. So for now, let's move on. Right. This is again, even though I recommend you do it, but not right now. Right. Let's move on to the what are other options. Randomization. What is random? To understanding randomization, we have to clearly understand what do you mean by random. And as I told you, the one of the best way understanding randomness is try to differentiating the concept random and uncertainty. And outside of this classroom, and we use random and uncertainty as the same concept. But academia, random is different. Why? Random is what? Like in rolling a dice, flipping coin type of thing. And then uncertainty is what? Do you know what kind of outcome will get it if you're rolling a dice, if you're flipping coin? Do you know? Heads or tail? If you know, if I flip the coin, if you know heads or tail will come, and you are not here, you go to Las Vegas or Atlantic City and you can make infinite amount of money, right? So likely you're not here because you're so rich and you can get any money because but rolling a dice, we don't know what will happen. If a flipping coin, we don't know it will be heads or tail. But what we know is number one, possible outcome we know. One, two, three, four, five, six, typical regular dice. We know what kind of outcome will coming out of from those rolling a traditional dice, right? There's no seven, there's no 2.5. We know the outcome will be either one, two, three, four, five, six, right? And then we know is what? What is chance of each outcome? In regular fair dice gave us 1/6 of probability, right? Chance will occurring whenever we, as an outcome, right? So we know the chance of, we know the what will be outcome, and then what? We know, what? Chance of each outcome. In that case, if we know that process, still we don't know what will happen, but that process we call it as what? Random process. Flipping coin, rolling a dice, etc. etc. There's a car, right? And what will be chance of a car will having an accident tonight? I don't want to consider in our car, some car, right? In 495, right? What is chance of having an accident to that car? Whether that car having an accident or not, yes, that's okay. We can just make it as a dichotomous. So potential outcome, let's pretend we know one of them. Having an accident or not. Just two dichotomous, right? But do we know the probability having a those accident or not? We don't know, but we can guess what a particular car will have an accident tonight by history. If we agree history what happened the previous years will repeat in future, we can use that one as a probability for applied to tonight. But that is a huge assumption. The last year, whatever the cumulative daily accident probability will be applied into today in that particular call. Even if we that probability is inaccurate, right? We don't know that probability is applicable or not. We don't know that history will be repeat in the tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, right? But our insurance company, right, doing that calculation of your insurance rate based on history is repeat based on your age, types of car, color of car, like lots of other variable, and then they compute what potential probability of you will have accident in next 5 years and next 2 years. They build up that model for estimating your appropriate amount of insurance rate. Again, randomness, please understand what is random process and just uncertainty process. And then also, we will talk about this one, a random sample is different from random assignment. Before we come to class, we use random, but primarily for the random sample only, or primarily. But in this class, we not only randomly sample, how to randomly sample one of this marker out of this bag. Oh, how many markers in this bag? Let's say I have a 10 markers, which I shuffle it up and then take out the one marker. Oh, this marker is a black marker, right? We can compute that one, but that is what random random selection. In this class and this textbook, emphasizing random assignment as well. Beautiful things, random sampling taking care of one validity, random assignment taking care of another type of validity. Please do not forget one more time. In this class, randomization, there's two different randomization process, which is, purpose. One is random sampling, random assignment. Random sampling taking care of one part of validity, external validity. Random assignment taking care of another part of validity, which is internal validity. External validity taken care of by random sampling. Generalizability can be improved by random sampling. And internal validity, tenability of causal conclusion can be enhanced by random assignment. Again, randomization, more internally validated result. If you choose random assignment, right? Random assignment. Let's talk about this example. Teaching method A and teaching method B, right? It depends. Student achievement depends on what? Parental SES, gender, blah, 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 right? Maybe you will assign students, randomly assign into teaching method A and teaching method B. If those random assignment number is very big, what happen is what? If the sample random assignment size gets bigger, what happen is what? Teaching method 1 students characteristic will be exactly same as what? I mean, asymptotically same, which is large sample, they're equivalent to teaching method B students. Gender distribution will be same, 50-50, 50-50. Students, parental SES distribution for the teaching method 1 will be same as teaching method 2. This is conditioned on what? If you have many sample size, many students participate, you're able to randomly assign two groups. If you have a very small number of participants, you cannot fully take advantage of random assignment. One more time. If you have a too small number, even though you randomly assign, right? And then, class A gender ratio is different from class B, teaching method B gender ratio. Why? Because your sample size is such a small. Only three students and three students in here. They will be approximately same when you have a large number. How large? That is really depends on the research design and research questions. But again, random assignment is golden rule. Why? Because now you can control spurious effect evenly across. So two groups will be equivalent by random assignment. But that advantage is only warranted by only when it will be warranted by only when your sample size is big enough, participant size is big enough. Are you with me? So we will talk about that issue later. Yeah, because of the random assignment able to control spurious effect, people call it as a golden rule. This randomized controlled design is the gold standard, but gold is expensive. You have to find out sufficient number of what participants to doing that research random assignment. But social behavior science is very tough to recruit that many of what experimental research participants. It's not like, oh, would you willing to participate in this research? If you go there and then you have somebody to pay you money to do the experiment. And as a parent, and we don't want our kids to doing some experiment in the school because I sent my kids to learn it, not to be experimented, right? So it's not easy to get those consent form and agreement to participate experiment. And then also because my daughter can be what out of that new teaching method, or I don't like to new teaching method. That could be risky, right? Right. So it's not easy to recruit a sufficient number of what participant in practical educational setting. It's practically very difficult to implement, especially for the size of participants. I strongly recommend to read this blog, and they describing those random assignment. Another name of is randomized controlled design. They controlling by randomization, specifically random. Not is this article not focus on random assignment. They focus on random. I mean they're not focused on random sampling. They focus on random assignment. It's good, but is expensive. I recommend you doing exercise, develop your own research design, and then try to controlling gender in your research design using randomization option. Obviously, can you controlling gender means what? And the experimental conditions and also controlling condition. Gender matter, right? But if you randomly assign lots of subjects into two groups, gender ratio for the first group, gender ratio for the second group will be same. So you don't have to worry about gender. Why? Gender issue will be spread it out, evenly spread it out by randomization process. But if you let participants choose one of the, hey, which one you like to do, and then there might be a gender issue going on. Female students willing to take that risk, male students don't want to do it, right? But if you randomly assign, it's not up to you. It's not up to me. It's based on what, which conditions, which group you will be assigned by randomizing, right? You don't know. I don't know. We just flip the coin, rolling a dice. You will be assigned it, and then we should able to get rid of those gender effects by randomization. And then also please find journal article they in quantitative research design, including those randomized control, random assignment, experimental research, etc. Right? All right, characteristic of good research design we already talked about. It becomes a fair, unbiased, you will be able to controlling spurious effect and the confounding variable to be minimum, and control extraneous variable is the same as a spurious variable. Confounding variable is also another name of spurious variable, and we can improve the statistical precisions, blah blah blah. All right, these are summary and what we've done it in this lecture note. Thank you.